paper. Haters always talking. They gotta make their statements, but they can't stop.
Coming to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We feel blessed to be here with you today. My name is Sean.
And I'm Jelani.
And we come to bring you commentary once again, provided by us, for us. And we appreciate, today we're going to have a real crispy show. Today is Friday. We're going to be just as crispy as the weather, man.
All right, so laid back. It's our open conversation Friday. Whatever you got on your mind, just call. We don't particularly have a subject today. We're just going to be well, Sean does. But whatever you got on your mind today, callers, you don't have to call on the subject. Just give us a call. Voice your opinion.
453-2401.
Real Conversation with Sean, brought to you by Benton's African Hair Braiding, 1300 Jasper Nina Drive, Grenada, Mississippi. The number is 404-207-3004. Give them a call for all your hair braiding and twisting needs. Also by Come and Go Grocery, that's 1500 Carrollton Avenue, Grenada, Mississippi. They have the 2 for $10 t-shirts and the 18-ounce dollar beers. What's on your mind today, Mr. Pierce?
Before I get started, I want to give some recognition to Mr. Marquis Washington and Kemp down at the barbershop. Also, Big B on Main Street. I like to call them they're just like hairstylists. They boost self-esteem. And
Miracle workers.
Yeah. I also want to say what's up to Troy out there with the Greenwood Utilities. I saw him today. Gave him a shout out. I told him I was going to shout him out. I hope you're listening. I hope you enjoy our listening. And today I want to start it off by reading. I always like to spread information, provide information. I think giving out good information is a good thing. And I want to say it's never too early to learn how to lead. Set the example. When you manage a team, it's your job to inspire, motivate, and empower your people. And in saying that, it's the new ways of our new society and our new world with all the technology we have. We talked one time about choices. We can pick up most anything we want in a grocery store, furniture store, on a car lot. Anything we want that we can afford, we can provide it for ourselves. But one thing we lacking is a whole bunch of people coming together to make our social scene just as beautiful as our sunshine is today. And I think everything needs to match up. And once everything matches up, we'll see a good positive change here in Leaflore County and the Mississippi Delta as well. And I just wanted to get your input. You can call in at 453-2401 on why is our new things that we try, or new things that come about, that come from a human being, some of which have been done before in other places. Why is it so hard to be received? And there's a lot of people out there who are inspiring entrepreneurs. And by us being in this area, I call it a blank sheet of paper. All we got to do is write on it, put our imprint on it. So why is it so hard to be receptive to new ways of doing things? We've talked about a lot of things over the past couple of months. We've been on the air, and we want to get your input on how we can try to cure this negative vibe. Cure this us against them mentality. Because, like Dr. King said, he wanted us all to walk hand in hand one day. And I was a youngster when I first heard it, and it made an impression on me, and I was under the impression that that's what we were supposed to do, but we've gotten away from it. So I was wondering what it's going to take for us to get back to that.
Well, the number one thing is, like we say all the time, change is not something always received. It takes a while to get used to. Once you've been set in a certain way of doing a certain thing, it's not convenient to take you out of that. So when something comes along that's not the same, something comes along that you're not accustomed to doing, or something new comes about, of course, initially, anybody's probably going to have a second thought about it, or a doubt about it. But overall, if that change is beneficiary to the masses and to the majority of the people or wherever, then it should be received and it should be promoted, even if it wasn't the change that you agreed with. It should be promoted and it should be put in place and worked out until it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, hey, that was an idea. It didn't work out, so good. Well, let's try something else. But that's just the entire moniker, pretty much of the entire Mississippi area.
But I think
we're just stuck in certain places.
Right, we're stuck, but we can't keep having the conversation like we'll never see this happen or we'll never see that happen. I know a lot of our older citizens probably thought they'd never see a black commander-in-chief.
Right.
That happened.
It did.
Back in the days, I think we have a caller. Caller, you on there?
Well, hey, how are you?
How you doing?
How you doing, man?
All right. Just to put a little input on what you all was talking about why that people are afraid to try new changes or new things.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is because of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And the fear of who do we trust and which direction we should take and what environment that we in, and is the environment going to accept the new changes that we have? And that brings on fear because people are afraid to step out on what they want to do because of the community or the environment that they live in.
Well, you're right about that, and I always, thought that people were scared, intimidated. Once you kill a person's confidence, they're least likely to put themselves through that again. They got to be cut from a certain cloth, and they got to be for real about whatever they're trying to do, and never let anybody turn them away.
And I think that that's another thing that we as older people have forgot to do, as with our younger people growing up. We have forgot to teach them that they can do anything. Instill it in them when they 3, 4, 5 years old, and constantly keep on and letting them know that you can do and be anything, and you don't have to. And I don't know how to just really say that word without using the word, but without having to kiss somebody's butt to get to where you need to be in life,
right?
To be where you want to be in life.
Okay,
That's right.
But check this out. What they do is, and I say they, it's a generational divide. They've shown that they don't want to pass the torch unless it's to a select person that they want. But they sit back and they kind of make fun of us for trying, and it's almost like, when you remember when people used to say, "Po child," they just trying, they look blessed, they look hard. They looking at us, and they're making a mockery of what we're trying to do because they know without their participation, it's gonna be hard for us to do it. But as I know so many young people that have the energy and they're willing to put it in another place, but there's not besides athletics and sports, and if you're blessed enough, shouts out to Troy Brown Jr. Solomon. He's a great speaker, as well as his sister. And if you're not blessed to have those talents or be able to get put on those stages, you won't have anywhere to perform. And a lot of times we're the ones with those visions. We have those visions of what vision is something someone else can't see. Vision is something that you have.
Well, Sean, I was going to say that, but since you done went on and said it anyway, I'm just going to get off the line and give someone else a chance.
I'm on the vibe.
Keep on with the show. Just keep on with the show.
I appreciate it, baby girl.
Thank you. Real Conversation with Sean, brought to you by Benson's African Hair Braiding, 1300 Jasperita Drive, Grenada, Mississippi. Their number is 404-207-3004. Also brought to you by Come and Go Grocery, 1500 Carrollton Avenue. Go and get your 2 for $10 T-shirts and your 18-ounce dollar beers. Fear is a big factor with not allowing change to come in. Fear plays a big part in people not wanting to do things, and a lot of times we have to learn how to embrace that fear. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to not be sure about something, but you should embrace it and say, well, in the sake of trying something new, because what we're doing is not working, let's go ahead and let's and let's try this.
And they've also showed their imperfections. I mean, nobody's perfect, but you know, it's more allowed for the status quo to make a mistake than to even give a person a chance to make a mistake.
Right.
And who's to say that that person that doesn't get a chance wouldn't have reacted to a particular situation in a different way because of his or her upbringing and because of what they've been through. The common man, like I said a lot of times, the common man can solve most of the world's problems if given a chance. But if never given a chance, and we found ways to silence our people, we found ways to keep a divide.
Wait them out.
And they'll wait you out. You know, I call it, you know, they're going to old man me out. You know, and I'm tired of waiting, and they'll tell you all the time, taking an initiative on your own.
Right. And they give you all these broad answers to say, well, hey, well, we can't get that done. It takes time, and it takes this, and it takes that. But it actually doesn't. Anytime a person of any type of power or authority gives you a reason why something cannot be done, more than likely, it's only because they don't want to do it, or is not beneficiary to them. Or it doesn't take a lot to do anything.
Don't leave this out. They're gonna do it themselves.
Or they'll do it themselves. They'll take that same idea and they'll go do it themselves. It doesn't take a lot to get a whole lot done. It only takes a little. It takes a little to get a lot done. A little effort into anything.
Effort is everything.
A little effort into anything can show leaps and bounds. Which is why, you know, I always go back to leadership. You know, people like we say on the show, we will stick to leadership because, of course, there are good things in Greenwood, and I've heard people, you know, say this. I also want to thank the people who call and give their critiques, and, you know, who call us and tell us, the teachers, the educators, about our grammar, how we should work on that. We thank y'all for all of that, and for your critiques. But I've heard people say that, oh, we only talk about this, we don't talk about that. Well, the reason being is because there's so much going on. You know, we could talk about the good here and the small good there, but for the majority, you know, we have a lot of problems going on. And, you know, not to always sound like, you know, Debbie Downer, but until these problems are addressed and fixed, then, you know, they need to be made an issue out of. And it needs to be brought to the light and talked about on a consistent basis until the people who can change either get tired of hearing it do something or they get tired of hearing it and they move on.
Well, that's really what they want. Like I said, silence is loud. What you're not saying, who you're not validating, what you're not paying attention to, that is loud. Because what you are paying attention to doesn't involve the masses. And my thing is, I want a better future for my young people here in Greenwood, and I want to get a chance to see it like all the people were born in the 30s and in the 40s. They got a chance to see a lot of progress. No TVs to flat screen TVs.
Right. No cell phones.
No cell phones to cell phones everywhere. They're selling water in the store now. They can remember when stuff cost a quarter.
Right.
You know. So now we know that change can come because we've seen it. But we found a way to push the pause button.
I know, right? It seems like we've been at a halt, especially here, and that halt has caused a decline. It's like a plane. When the plane is flying and it stalls, it's going to fall. It's going to descend. And it seems like what happened is like we came to a stall, and we've just been falling and falling ever since.
But our results are we got a declining population.
Declining population.
We have, you know.
Declining business.
Right. We got a high unemployment rate.
Yep. We have a decline in integrity and responsibility of our political officials.
Our people need healing. Our people need something. Let me tell you about a vision I had. Okay. You know, Flowwood Park. They're in the midst of trying to, you know, rejuvenate and do
Making
some
a
things.
cemetery or something, right?
Well, no, my idea wasn't a cemetery. I'm more or less want to deal with live people. We put enough into death as it is. We t-shirt ourselves, you know.
Right.
We t-shirt and we party. I mean,
we glorify death.
I never thought that would be a business. You know, when it comes to I got some of my young people being shot in a t-shirt of someone else that has been shot. Right. And when it start happening like that, it's a problem. I don't care if it's not addressed by certain people. I want to address it, and I want to tell my young people, stick to living. Give life a chance. Everything is not going to be like it is now.
going back to your Flowwood plan.
Oh, my Flowwood plan. I mean, you know, I get passionate when it comes to my young people, and I don't want to make mistakes. You know, the same mistakes I made or some of my friends that's not here right now made. But I picture Flowwood being a resort park where you can rent cabins out. You can have different events. Each cabin would be named of, you know, if you want to put the blues and tourism theme on it, there's ways to incorporate that.
Right.
But I figured it would be one of our diamonds in the depths.
Right, an asset.
Make that one of our assets to let people know that our mindset don't just read, don't take what you read, come and see what we're about.
Right.
And by me being just I call it, you know, a nobody.
Right.
I just had a vision and I put it on paper because I know that, you know, people don't respect things.
Right.
You know, their first thing they'll tell you, well, put it on paper. And so I've been told that before when I had ideas as a younger person. So I've been putting it on paper ever since. I got a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you know, I figured that we need something for the people that they can use and that they can take pride in and have their family reunions and fishing rodeos.
Yeah, something that would generate income.
RV camping, on-site restaurant. You know, you can rent cabins, you know, for weeks at a time. You know, we got a big hunting, you know, a hunting season that comes around. A lot of different hunting seasons come around, but we're in an area that is big on hunting.
Yeah.
And so I just think that we have a lot of things that we can bring together and make that a prosperous part.
Right. Well, you know, you just wonder, like, where's the business sense when it comes to our leadership? And if you look at the majority of our leadership, none of them own businesses, you know. So an organization is a reflection of the people that lead it, as we say all the time. So for Greenwood to have declined in business the way it has had under the leadership that we've had and still have, just means that our leadership is unbusiness friendly, has no business sense, and it's killing an area which was built and oriented off of business. You know, anytime you have people in power who can't see how to take an empty lot and make profit off of it to bring in stimulus, to bring in money for the city, you know, that hurts. And that translates with other business owners who try to work with them and cannot work with them because they don't have a vision.
I think we have
a vision for business. Like
I think we have some leaders with business sense. We got.
They don't show it.
Well, Mr. Ronnie Stevenson has business sense. I think Mr. Palmer owns property. I'm just giving you. An example. I'm just, you know.
I understand. But where are those ideas in the city council meetings?
Let me finish. I think several of them own property or businesses. I don't think.
Mr. Johnny Jennings is the only one who's an actual business owner.
Oh, well, I don't.
Right.
Mr. Johnny Jennings has a recording that, you know, I much respect to Mr. Jennings,
right.
but he has a recording that you know, I kind of question.
But even with him, you know, like I said, their business sense doesn't translate to the city council meetings.
Well, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. But there's different factors that goes into that. We don't know on the outside looking in how that works. And I think they're savvy businessmen, but what I think they missing is the common man's point of view. Everything has been predicated now along who you have to be somebody to be able to say something. Yeah. And you know, that's not the way things are supposed to be.
Right.
You anything that's good, anybody that has a good idea or
that's right,
or something that's genuine and can help the masses, they need to critique it.
Yep.
And with their business savvy and with their political influence, make it come to fruition.
Yeah.
So that the community at large will feel confident that something that one of their peers said made it to an actual thing.
Feels like their word matters.
Right.
Real Conversation with Sean brought to you by Benton's African Hair Braiding. They're in Grenada. Their number is 404-207-2004. Give them a call. Also by Come and Go Grocery, 1500 Carrollton Avenue. They have the 2 for $10 t-shirts and the 18-ounce dollar beers. But yeah, that makes anytime you have just an average person who can come to their political leadership or their educational leadership or their business leadership, their job leadership, and introduce an idea, and they see that idea brought to life with their recognition, that does something for them, and that does something for other people.
Right.
Because we cannot, again, that's all a part of being a good businessman, is knowing how to listen to your subordinates.
Right.
Or how to listen to, and not to say that these councilmen don't have business sense, but just, I always say the proof is in the pudding, and if you look at Greenwood, there's a reason why so many businesses have left, and we can't just blame it on the fact, of all these other factors.
Well,
we have to look at the root of the problem.
Yeah.
It's just like if
we know who's
business,
been getting blamed.
Right.
We know that,
Right.
it's been the parents.
Right. Let's just take the boat.
That's who we talking to. That's who we talking to. We talking to the people who've been feeling the grunt of all these things that have been happening.
Right.
They don't have a voice.
Right.
I don't even like to spend time debating back and forth, or even giving a lot of energy to people who, like I said, may be sitting back laughing at what me and you are doing right now. See, you have to be taken seriously by the people in leadership, or somebody in leadership, or somebody of influence. But right now, who we're talking to, the people who give us, their blessing, are the normal citizens of Greenwood.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I want to empower them to want to get themselves on another level, so they'll feel more encouraged to try some of the things that they want to try.
Right. That's why you have to put things out there and let them know, hey, go to these people, tell these people.
Right.
It is your God-given right to say, hey, something is going on, something is wrong. You all need to do more to fix it. What you're doing is not enough. Overstep your bounds.
We're not going to say anything, Jelani. It's like this, from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You can call in at 453-2401 at any time. From my perspective, if you don't have anyone to go tell when you've been wrong, right now, it's a lot of people not being spoken for. And they're being punished because of how they either didn't vote or how they voted.
Right.
And my thing is this: I would try, if I were running for something and I won and somebody didn't vote for me, my job is to try to make them come to my side.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. I can't do it with venomous, comments at them or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to show them that I am the man for the job.
Right.
Just as, in my work, when I work with youth, like I said, I got a team now, and just looking at those different personalities, and all of them have their own individualism. Some people live their whole lives without knowing what their purpose is.
Right.
And you don't want a lot of that, because when you got people who don't know their purpose, you have people crossing paths. And people want to do things because they see someone else do something, and that's not necessarily gonna fit your life. So once we get our people confident enough to follow their dreams and give them a stage to work it on,
have to fulfill their dreams.
Right. And we would see, a little, because our social climate is not good at all. We have an enormous amount of potential. We have some of the most talented people in the world here in the Mississippi Delta, and we have a lot of assets that people from outside the world, we can benefit from those things. We can benefit from people wanting to watch our lives. Just as Mr. Carpenter, he was one of our citizens that participated in the Help movie. He co-starred in the Help movie. That's gonna go down. That's historic. That's big. I was in Mississippi Masala and nobody would ever know it. They wouldn't even believe it. But me and Mike Anthony and Kwame and Raphael Griffin, we were extras. We weren't co-stars.
Yeah.
We were just extras. So I know my city has provided a lot of opportunity for me. So I feel like I can put my youthful energy that I have left into trying to make it
back.
Get it socially, acceptable, so that people won't mind coming into our community, bringing business. I want people to know that's listening that we do have different point of views, and we're not all just stupid. Maybe because we didn't experience the civil
Just
rights
because we didn't
era.
take the same path you took,
Right.
or experience the same things you took,
Right.
doesn't mean that we are no less valid.
Right.
You know, but again, when you like you said, when we have those generational gaps, that understanding will never get there because we weren't there. And, you know, their understanding will never come out of that era because, you know, of course, that's what they went through, and that was something traumatic. You know, that was a traumatic, you know, event for them.
Jelani, this era is going to be documented as a tumultuous era.
All right, I think we have a call on the line.
Caller, you on there?
Hey,
How you doing?
I have a topic that might be of interest to you all, and I want to share it with you.
What's going on?
The
Give it
topic
to
is
me.
the education system then and now.
The education system then and now?
Then and now. What's the difference in the education system for as the level of education, the academics, the courses in school, the things that they have eliminated out that back then that is really necessary for the kids now, but they're not allowing it.
Right. Well, there's a lot of things.
There's a long list.
But one thing that they didn't take out was compassion, and that's up to an individual. So once we start beginning to be monetary, once we start to begin to think about the materials that we can attain through this profession, and one is not a lot of work, and you know, and things of that nature. That's when we took the most important thing out. We took out the compassion for the future of the young people. That's why you have to recycle all our good people. That's why you got to have somebody else to pull up the totem pole so that when you're burnt out, when you're tired, when you don't feel like it, you have to validate another young person and encourage them and give them the information so they can take on the journey.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, to list some of those things, caller, you know, if you look at Greenwood High and just say 1985, there were more classes offered. You know, there were, as we know, the curriculum was a lot better. The graduation rates were higher. You know, I can't list off a lot of, you know, well, I know for one, like foreign language classes. Greenwood High School students used to take trips to England and, you know, Europe and France. And that was in the early 90s, late 80s. That wasn't there when I was there. See, those kind of things are missing. When you don't expose your students to things outside of their area, then that's all they know. Like I said, it is an entire list, and anyone who's ever been in a public school district, you remember the things that you did in school, the teachers that you had, the programs that you had. Those programs are no longer there, and that's a great point you make, caller, because those are also things that have a big effect on the community and on children. When you take away extracurricular things, when you don't focus on vocational things, you know, different talents and such, so forth on and so on, then you miss an entire generation or an entire patch of people.
Our kids now, like I said, they're a new breed of people. You can't pull the wool over their eyes. They detect fakeness from a mile away, and we have some dedicated parents out there. We got some young dedicated parents out there, and they're looking for guidance as well. And that's when our older citizens and our mentors come into play. And we must fill the void at home. We cannot keep screaming, we gotta get it at home, we gotta get it at home. If they're not gonna get it at home, let's implement something where they know that they can get it somewhere.